So yeah, babies, how are we today? Today's video is true presence is having your heart feel everything fully, without your mind interfering, your soul to experience everything fully, without your mind connecting it to other points and experiences in time. Some point in the future, I separated the heart and the soul. I don't remember that video. But the beauty about talking about these things is they kind of come back to you. I had completely forgotten that I separated the heart and the soul. But the way it is written right now, true presence is having your heart feel everything fully without your mind interfering. It's because the mind has a tendency to label stuff. It's language, right? Because the mind deals with the abstracts. And so in order for it to understand, or at the very least your ego to comprehend what's going on. And I think that's a discomfort that we have with feelings in general, because like the minute we start feeling something, we kind of want to label it. And maybe it's because under normal circumstances, or if you were to imagine not the best of childhoods, effectively what we do is we can only remember the bad times or the bad feelings because they actually had a direct and relevant response on the world, reaction to the world. Whilst when it comes to the positive feelings, they're only experienced with us. I'm thinking of anger as an example, because for us to get used to anger and how to handle anger, effectively we start on an extreme, which is basically yelling, shouting, being violent, being aggressive, shutting down, all that stuff, and slowly finding a way to resolve the emotion. It doesn't start from like, no, I'm feeling something uncomfortable, and then you realize what you can do. It's you see what you're doing, and then you go like, what the fuck? I kind of lost control. And then every time you're angry, you kind of like process it in a way that allows you to eventually, hopefully, not be angry. And the goal is the emotion, right? Like what we're targeting right now is an understanding of the emotion, because there's a split here. True presence is having your heart feel everything fully without your mind interfering, and your soul to experience everything fully without your mind connecting it to other points slash experiences in time. So they're same thing in a way, because your heart feels, but your soul experiences. I really want to check that like video that I did. Okay, where is it? Strengthen the bond. Scope of discovery. I'll find the video later. It will be one of the interesting videos to rewatch. So there's a clear separation between the heart and the soul. And there's a book I read called The Seat of the Soul, where your soul kind of like sits. And the book describes it like somewhere on your chest. I read it like 6 years ago, so I don't really remember it now. And the idea is, or at least my thought process, is because the delivery of consciousness through life from the heart translates as the energy from the heart, whilst the trans the delivery of consciousness through the mind So one is through life. What is the other one? Because I know the heart feels. And again, like we're saying the heart, but we're not saying the physical aspect of the heart. Or if we're saying the physical aspect of the heart, then we're kind of like isolating the soul, where the heart is. So there's the abstract concept of the heart, which is the soul. And then there's the abstract concept of the brain, which is the mind. Because like, if your brain is not firing, you're not connected to the world's consciousness. But if your heart is not functioning, then you're not connected to basically like the life's consciousness. It's an interesting way to think about it. Ultimately, with both of them, I'm distinguishing between the heart feels and the soul experiences. And for your soul to experience everything fully without your mind connecting it to other points slash experiences. So again, the highlights of the video is true presence. The true presence is having your heart feel everything fully without your mind interfering. And that's you basically in the world, in this world where we exist. We can call it the physical thing, or we can call it the ideation, because ultimately everything is kind of like designed by how our brain, by how our mind experienced the world before and is looking at it right now. So the tangible aspect of the world, the parts of the world that allow you to kind of like visualize what's in front of you, things like this, kind of like I'm not sure how to explain the world because ultimately the entirety of the world exists in my head, right? There's that image in my head that's making me see it. But then your soul to express everything fully without your mind connecting it to other points and experiences, which means when you're feeling something, you do not want your mind to label it. That's the interference. Maybe to label it, to judge it, to have an opinion over it, because that's what we normally do. Now it's funny because we spend our entire life trying to understand it, and then we spend the first half of our life trying to understand these feelings or labeling them logically. And then we spend the rest, the balance half of our lives, depending on when you kind of like wake up to your own self and your own existence. You spend the rest of your life kind of like dismantling all the logic you did in order to understand it. And for your soul to experience everything, your mind kind of like throws you back or relates different problems that shake you, right? Because like, what are memories for if not for us to be careful? And ultimately, we are negatively biased as human beings. The mind is more negatively biased. That's why you teach children if something is hot or cold by kind of like doing or something like that. And so opening up this to be present is to be open to both these experiences then. Because you have to be able to feel something and you have to be able to experience it. So experiencing it is based on the relationship you have with it, whatever that's happening. And to feel it is your basically response to that relationship. I think this is the first time I actually consider something this way. Your mind is always with you. And I feel very strongly about the fact that it is your partner and it is the reason why you have survived this long. But we're either intentional about our existence, which allows us to work with the mind, or we're unintentional, which means the mind has to do its thing in order for us not to die. for us to survive. So true presence is kind of like building that trust between you and the mind, allowing the mind to kind of like be there for you if you need it, right? Not every moment of the day just thinking and processing and doing stuff. And I think we do a big, we we include a lot of things in our day without actually creating the processes for them to be like properly handled. And that's what the mind kind of like ends up doing, kind of like creating its own inefficient and ineffective processes and trying to find its way through. It really is interesting that I was able to split again the heart from the soul, one that's physical and the one that's emotional, spiritual. I don't know. Alright, guys, it's a video. Thank you. Love you guys. Bye.